Imagine giving her your full attention, treating her right, showing her loyalty, and she still pulls away, ignores your messages, and suddenly acts like you never existed. But the guy who barely acknowledges her? That's the one she's obsessed with. It's not an accident, it's psychology. And if you don't understand this one truth, you'll keep losing to men who don't even try. This video will change that forever. Comment, "I refuse to be invisible," if you're ready to flip the script and finally become the man she chases. Number 1. She values what she has to earn. Every man watching this right now knows the feeling. Your stomach drops when the message reads, "Seen," and there's no reply. You wait, check again, still nothing. You gave her everything, your attention, your time, your effort, your loyalty. You were emotionally present, responsive, and giving. You listened to her rants at 2 a.m., remembered the little things she said, made her feel like the center of your universe. And now, she's gone. No goodbye, no thank you, no second thoughts. Just gone. You sit there trying to figure out what you did wrong, running through every interaction in your head, thinking maybe you were too soft, maybe not attentive enough, maybe you said something wrong. But here's what no one tells you. Your mistake was never in saying too little. It was in giving too much, too fast, to someone who never earned it. You made her a queen without making her prove she was even loyal to your kingdom. That's not noble. It's reckless. Women do not cherish what they do not earn. They do not value what comes without effort. And this isn't because they're evil or manipulative. It's because they are biologically wired to associate effort with value. It's psychology, it's instinct. When something is handed to us, we assume it has less worth. That's why luxury brands never go on sale, because people want what they have to work for. Relationships are no different. The man who makes her earn his attention commands her respect. The man who gives his heart without filters becomes disposable. It's not just about romance, it's about perceived self-worth. When you prioritize her before she's earned it, you're telling her, "I see you as more valuable than myself." And subconsciously, she starts to believe it too. That's when she starts testing you, pushing boundaries, withholding affection, wondering why you're so easy to win over. And when you keep chasing, you confirm her suspicion that you have no standards. And once she senses that, the attraction withers, the energy shifts. You become the backup plan, the fallback option, the guy who's always there. And the truth is brutal. No woman chases the man she doesn't have to work for. She might keep you around for attention. She might respond out of boredom. But she's not excited. She's not invested. She's not dreaming about you. And that's what kills men inside. Not the rejection itself, but the realization that you gave everything to someone who didn't even value it. But here's where the transformation begins. When you recognize this pattern, when you finally accept that overgiving is not noble, it's self-sabotage, you gain the power to reverse the script. From this moment forward, every ounce of your energy must be directed at filtering, not chasing. Let her prove herself. Let her wonder where she stands. Let her initiate, let her invest. You're not being cold, you're being careful. You're not withholding love, you're protecting your peace. And here's what happens next. When a woman senses you have boundaries, when she sees that you're selective, when she feels that she has to qualify to be in your world, she becomes more invested. She becomes more present. She leans in, because suddenly your attention feels rare. And in a world drowning in digital noise, emotional rarity is the new luxury. She wants to know more. She wants to earn it. And this is when the power dynamic shifts, not through manipulation, not through tactics, but through self-respect. You become the man she talks about, the one who's different, the one who's not trying to impress her, the one who's too focused on his mission to be emotionally reckless. And every time you pull back to realign with your purpose, you become more attractive. Every time you say, "not yet," instead of course, you remind her that your time is a privilege, not a given. That's when she starts chasing. That's when she starts investing. That's when she starts asking herself, "What does he see in me?" And now you have the leverage, not to control but to choose. This is where men are reborn, not by becoming cold or distant, but by becoming intentional, purposeful, measured. The kind of man who doesn't need validation to feel whole. The kind of man who gives love, but only to those who have earned it. So if you're tired of being the forgotten one, the nice guy, the emotional safety net, then it's time to rise. Stop giving discounts on your presence. Stop handing out your energy like samples at a mall. You are not a free trial. You are the reward, and the woman who wants you should be willing to earn you. Because the moment she does, she won't just want you, she'll respect you. And that's the foundation of real desire. From this day on, commit to one truth. If she doesn't earn you, she doesn't get you. Write it down, memorize it, live it. Because the man who lives by this standard never has to beg for love again. He becomes the love that others fight to keep. And if you're tired of watching it happen over and over again, if you're done giving everything and getting nothing, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is where your new life begins. It's the exact mindset shift you've needed, the system that shows you how to stop giving yourself away for free and start becoming the man she has to earn. Inside, you'll find the principles that keep your dignity intact, the emotional clarity you've never been taught, and the boundaries that protect your peace. And once you own it, it's yours forever. No subscriptions, just lifetime access to the truth most men never hear. The link is in the comments. Get it now. Your future self will thank you. Number 2, certainty kills attraction. There's a pattern most men fall into, and they never even realize it's the reason they keep losing. It starts small, harmless, even admirable. You start showing up consistently. You reply fast, you stay polite, and you're always emotionally available. You tell her how amazing she is, compliment her daily, ask how her day was, and never make her question your intentions. You make it obvious that you like her. You make it easy. But slowly, you notice something changing. Her replies get shorter. She stops initiating. She's busy. Suddenly, the woman who once seemed interested starts pulling away. You try harder, more emojis, longer texts, maybe even a good morning message just to show her you care. You wait longer and longer for a reply, convincing yourself she's just having a busy day. But deep down, you feel it, the shift, the distance, the disinterest, and you can't understand why. After all, isn't that what women want? A man who's certain about them, a man who's consistent. Here's the uncomfortable truth. It's not. Certainty is not attractive, not in the beginning, not when it's given too soon, without reason, without challenge, without tension. Certainty without effort is emotional inflation, and women are wired to desire tension, to crave the high of pursuit, to invest in what they're unsure they can fully have. This isn't manipulation, it's psychology. The less she's certain of your feelings, the more she obsesses about them. The more you declare your love too early, the faster she loses curiosity. And make no mistake, curiosity is the seed of desire. The man she's thinking about at night isn't the one who texts her good morning every day like a robot. It's the one who makes her wonder, the one who doesn't need her attention to feel complete, the one who doesn't put her on a pedestal she hasn't earned. Certainty suffocates because it removes the unknown. It kills anticipation. And anticipation is the heartbeat of attraction. When she knows exactly when you'll text, exactly what you'll say, exactly how available you'll be, she stops thinking about you. You become routine, predictable, emotionally accessible like a vending machine. She doesn't have to earn you. so she stops valuing you. She doesn't feel tension, so she doesn't feel desire. And here's what most men do next. They double down. They become even more predictable. They check in more, plan more, apologize for being too much, hoping to win her back by proving just how reliable they are. But reliability isn't the issue. It's the lack of emotional space. It's the absence of polarity. You're giving her the conclusion before the story even begins. Attraction needs space. It needs ambiguity. It needs the unknown. Not so you can play games, but so you can create emotional contrast. The key isn't to become distant for the sake of mystery. It's to become deeply rooted in your own life, that her presence doesn't become your focus, but your addition. You shouldn't have to text her every morning. She should be wondering why you didn't. Not because you're trying to get a reaction, but because you were too focused on your morning routine, your fitness, your hustle, your mission. You weren't available because your life demands your presence more than she does. That's what creates pull. That's what builds interest. That's what separates you from the dozens of men throwing hearts in her DMs. She doesn't need another man telling her she's beautiful. She needs a man who makes her feel uncertain about how to earn his time, about how to keep his interest, about what he sees in her. And when she feels that, she leans in. She asks questions. She becomes more feminine, more invested, more engaged. Because now, she's the one chasing, and you, finally, are in control. The transformation starts when you stop trying to be liked and start becoming respected. When you stop proving and start filtering, you never again give full access to someone who hasn't earned it. You never again fill the silence just to feel validated. You understand that emotional availability has to be earned, not handed out. Because the more certain she is of your feelings, the more she'll test their value. And the moment she realizes she didn't have to work for your love, she'll start treating it like background noise. From this point forward, your energy becomes scarce. Your words become intentional. Your attention becomes earned. You build tension not by playing games, but by living a life so purposeful that she can feel it pulling you away. You miss a call, not because you're ignoring her, but because you were deep in flow. You skip a text, not because you're ghosting her, but because your workout doesn't wait. That's not toxic, that's discipline, that's power, that's polarity. And when she feels that, when she sees that you are not moved by the fear of losing her, she becomes obsessed with staying in your life. Not because you chased her, but because she chased you. Because you made her wonder. Because you refused to give certainty until she earned it. That is what builds attraction that lasts. That is what makes a man unforgettable. Certainty doesn't make her feel safe. It makes her feel in control. And women don't desire what they control. They desire what they respect. So if you want her to stay, stop giving her the whole map on day one. Make her curious. Make her wait. Make her earn the next chapter. That's not manipulation. It's value. And value is what she's craving more than your validation. Number 3, neediness signals low status. There's a bitter reality most men are too afraid to admit. When you act like she's the prize, you automatically remove yourself from the game. You place yourself beneath her, not with words, but with energy, with patterns, with the way you show up. And she feels it even if she doesn't consciously say it. This is the invisible weight of neediness. It doesn't scream, it whispers, it lingers, and it repels. You don't have to beg for her attention or cry on the phone for her to feel it. Neediness is in how quickly you reply. It's in how available you make yourself. It's in how fast you fold when she's flaky, how you prioritize her over your plans, how you rearrange your life just to be near someone who hasn't earned that kind of priority. And the moment she detects that you value her more than you value yourself, she loses all respect for you, even if she doesn't admit it. She might keep you around. She might use your validation as emotional fuel. But she will never desire you in the way you crave, because no woman desires a man who places her above his own mission, who becomes emotionally dependent on her attention, who waits by the phone hoping she'll text back like he's waiting for oxygen. That's not strength, that's servitude. And women are not attracted to servants. They're attracted to leaders, to men who don't just walk in purpose, they embody it. The truth is, when a man operates from lack, he acts like she's the reward for all his effort. But she's not. She's the test. The test of whether you'll stay grounded, focused, locked in, or whether you'll abandon your path at the first sign of beauty. And most men fail. They get one smile, one compliment, one flirtatious glance, and suddenly they're changing their schedule, losing their edge, neglecting their routine, sacrificing who they are to be liked. And they think this proves commitment. But what it really proves is that you were never that disciplined to begin with, that you were waiting for a distraction to pull you off your purpose. And the moment she becomes aware that she has the power to emotionally destabilize you, she loses trust. Why? Because if you can't hold your frame in the presence of a woman, how will you hold it in the face of adversity? If she sees you drop everything for her attention, she knows she can't rely on you to hold the line when it matters. Women don't trust weak men, even if they smile at them. And this is where the average man breaks. He confuses validation for attraction. He thinks her laughs, her soft voice, her emojis, her "oh, you're so sweet" means he's winning. But he's not. He's just being emotionally harvested. She enjoys the attention, but she doesn't crave the man. She feels adored, but she doesn't respect the source of that adoration. Because he's too easy, too present, too desperate. And it doesn't matter how handsome he is, how wealthy, how good his intentions. If his energy says, "I need you to choose me so I feel enough," she will walk away. Or worse, she'll breadcrumb him for months, using him for emotional security while she chases the man who never texts back. And the sad part is, this happens in silence. Most men don't even see it happening. They think they're doing everything right. They think being kind, responsive, affectionate is what women want, and society applauds them for it. But behind closed doors, they're confused, frustrated, humiliated, watching her disappear after they gave her the world. So what's the solution? You must remove the stench of desperation from your energy entirely. That doesn't mean becoming cold. That doesn't mean ignoring everyone. It means shifting your mindset from "I hope she picks me" to "I'm already whole. She'll need to prove she belongs in my world." This is the shift from neediness to abundance. You stop chasing her energy because you're too focused building your own. You're hitting the gym, journaling, meditating, building your business, nurturing your mission. You're turning down invites that don't serve your direction. You're filtering women, not chasing them. You're letting her come to you. And when she does, you evaluate her, you observe, you lead. Because leadership isn't about controlling her. It's about controlling yourself. It's about not being reactive, not needing her response to feel at peace. It's about having options, but choosing discipline. You become less available, not to play games, but because your life is too purposeful to revolve around someone who hasn't shown consistent value. And when she feels that shift, when your presence becomes selective, her perception changes. You're no longer the guy she strings along. You're the one she's nervous to lose, because now she's not sure if she qualifies. Now she's investing. Now she's chasing, and you didn't get there by asking for her love. You got there by respecting your own energy more than her approval. So the next time you feel that urge to overgive, to impress her, to beg for attention, pause. Ask yourself, am I acting from strength or scarcity? Am I grounded in purpose, or am I trying to fill a void with validation? Because the man who walks in purpose never needs to chase. He simply becomes so undeniable that he attracts everything meant for him. And if she walks away, good. She just saved you time, because the right woman won't need you to prove your value. She'll see it, feel it, and rise to meet it. But that only happens when you lead with strength, not need. Number 4. Her biology craves strength. There's a reason the emotional nice guy gets left on red, while the emotionally disciplined man becomes the one she obsesses over, even if she never admits it aloud. It's not about surface charm, or how kind you are, or how well you communicate your feelings, or how fast you open up about your inner child trauma. It's about what your energy says when you're in her presence, and whether it signals strength or instability, presence or emotional volatility, leadership or need for approval. And while society preaches that vulnerability is the new masculinity and emotional exposure is the key to connection, real-life attraction doesn't follow that script, because women, regardless of how evolved, how modern, how progressive, are still biologically coded to seek security, leadership, and composure in the men they're drawn to. And when you crumble emotionally in front of her too soon, when you pour your insecurities on her shoulders before she's earned that access, when you make her your confidant, your therapist, your emotional anchor, before she's even chosen to truly invest in you, she might listen with empathy, she might say all the right words, but inside, deep in her primal subconscious, she registers you as unstable, as emotionally fragile, as lacking the strength to lead. Because if you can't regulate yourself, how will you regulate your environment? How will you protect, provide, and perform when life hits with real pressure? And no, it's not about being fake or pretending nothing affects you. It's about timing. It's about discipline. It's about stoic restraint, holding the weight of your emotions internally, processing them with clarity, and expressing them with controlled precision only when necessary, and only when the woman in front of you has proven she can handle that access. And most men don't get this. They wear their heart on their sleeve thinking it shows honesty, thinking that by crying in front of her on week 2 or trauma dumping on the first date, she'll feel closer to them. But in reality, she pulls away, she ghosts, or she friend zones you with the infamous "you're too nice," because she feels overwhelmed. She feels like you're asking her to mother your emotional wounds. And that's not attraction, it's pressure. And pressure without polarity always kills desire. So the shift must happen internally. Instead of viewing emotional openness as a default, treat it like sacred currency. Spend it only on those who earn it. And even then, spend it with discernment, with masculine stillness, with calm expression that doesn't beg for sympathy, but communicates truth with leadership. And that's the difference. Real strength isn't in never feeling, it's in never crumbling in front of the wrong audience. It's in building your internal world so powerfully that your external world doesn't shake you. So when she tests you, and she will, you don't flinch, you don't collapse, you don't get emotional or reactive. You stay rooted, calm, composed, because the way you respond to feminine chaos tells her everything she needs to know about your leadership potential. And women will never follow men who are emotionally led by them. They follow men who are led by principle, by vision, by an internal code. And if you want to be that man, stop seeking safety in her arms and start building safety within yourself, through discipline, through structure, through solitude, through relentless accountability for your emotional state, because that's what makes you magnetic. Not how much you share, but how much you control. Not how fast you fall in love, but how intentional you are about who gets your loyalty. And when you shift into this mode, you'll notice something. Women start responding differently. They text you more. They respect your silence. They show up on time. They lean in instead of pulling away, because now you're not an emotional liability. You're an emotional anchor, and that's what she craves on a primal level. A man who makes her feel safe without saying a word. A man who doesn't need her approval to feel valuable. A man who sees her beauty but doesn't lose his mind over it. A man who can feel pain but still make decisions without being ruled by it. And if that man isn't you yet, good. Now you have a reason to evolve. Now you have a mission. Because the world doesn't need more emotionally expressive men. It needs more emotionally controlled men. Men who can bleed without crying out for pity. Who can stand tall even when they're breaking inside. Men who can lead without collapsing, love without losing themselves, give without expectation, and walk away without resentment if their energy isn't honored, because strength doesn't chase, it attracts. And the man who embodies it becomes irresistible not just to women, but to opportunities, to life, to destiny itself. So if you've been conditioned to believe that emotional exposure is how you get women to love you, unlearn that, because what gets you love isn't exposure, it's groundedness, it's confidence, it's self-respect. And the next time you feel the urge to pour your soul out to a woman who hasn't earned your trust, pause, breathe, write it down instead. Talk to your brothers, your coach, your mentor, process it in private, and when you speak, speak like a leader, not like a child begging to be seen, because the man who controls himself controls his world, and in a time where chaos is currency, composure is king. Number 5. Boundaries build desire. If there's one thing that separates a man she respects from a man she uses, it's boundaries. And you don't need to say a word for her to feel yours, because boundaries aren't spoken first. They're lived, they're embodied, they're communicated through what you allow, what you walk away from, what you ignore, and what you never tolerate even once. And most men today are boundaryless, not because they don't know better, but because deep down they think that love has to be earned through sacrifice, through overextending, through proving themselves by saying yes to everything, by showing up unconditionally, by always being there, always forgiving, always understanding. And it's that very mindset that turns men into emotional punching bags and women into unaccountable chaos. Because when she sees you constantly adjust your standards for the sake of keeping her around, she stops respecting the very core of who you are. Every ignored red flag, every cancelled plan, every message you send after she ghosts you is a silent confession that you value her more than yourself, that you're willing to abandon your identity for the hope of approval. And once that dynamic sets in, it becomes impossible for her to view you as the leader, as the anchor, as the man she desires, because you've shown her that your self-respect is conditional, that it bends when emotions rise, that your principles are negotiable, and women are biologically wired to test those boundaries, not because they're evil or manipulative, but because they want to feel protected. And if your frame collapses under pressure, if your tone softens when it should harden, if your standards disappear the moment she flirts or cries, you've already lost her emotionally, even if she stays physically, because boundaries aren't about control. They're about value perception, and a man who can say no, a man who can leave the table when he's not being served, a man who can sit in silence instead of chasing closure, becomes the very thing she's not used to. Unpredictable, rare, desired. And desired men don't over-explain, they don't tolerate nonsense, they don't reward disrespect with more attention. They hold the line, they enforce the boundary, they let her walk away if she must, and they never negotiate their dignity for temporary affection. And it's in that posture, in that restraint, that real desire is born. Because when a woman realizes you won't sacrifice your peace for her presence, she either steps up or falls off, and either outcome is a win, because your life must be governed by principles, not emotions. And once you adopt this, everything shifts, not just in relationships, but in how the world treats you. Because men with boundaries are rare. They walk differently, they talk differently, they don't entertain nonsense, they attract only what aligns. and the women who encounter that energy either rise to meet it or fade into the background. And if you want to build this level of gravity, it starts small. Say no to what drains you, walk away from inconsistency, stop explaining your standards, and most importantly, stop rewarding behavior that insults them. And you'll notice quickly, your phone may get quieter, your circle may shrink, but the respect you gain, the peace you build, the clarity you develop will make you untouchable. Because a man who protects his space becomes the space women want to be in, not because he's controlling, but because he's centered. And centered men can't be manipulated. They can't be guilt-tripped. They can't be swayed by flattery or tantrums. They lead with quiet confidence. And when she feels that, she doesn't just want to be close. She wants to qualify. She wants to prove. She wants to earn. And that's the difference between desire and obligation. One is built through mystery, the other through sacrifice, and the choice is always yours. Either you lead with boundaries or you beg with desperation, but you can't have both. So if you're tired of being ignored, ghosted, or disrespected, look at your boundaries, or lack thereof, and ask yourself, have I allowed this? Have I trained her to expect my forgiveness without change? Have I made disrespect a habit she knows I'll accept? Because if the answer is yes, then the solution isn't to blame her. It's to rebuild your code, enforce your line, and raise your value so high that nothing low can reach you. And when that happens, when you stop allowing chaos, you stop attracting it. And she feels that shift so deeply that the next time she tries to test you and you respond with silence instead of compromise, with distance instead of pleading, with self-respect instead of fear, she realizes she's dealing with a different breed of man, a man who values himself more than her approval, and in that realization, her desire is born. Number 6. She wants to chase you. You've been conditioned your entire life to chase. Chase success, chase approval, chase women. And you were told that if you just try hard enough, show her enough love, enough effort, enough attention, she'll see your worth and love you back. But reality is far more brutal. The more you chase, the more you lower your perceived value. And in the brutal algorithm of attraction, whoever chases first loses leverage. And women instinctively know this because they're not drawn to the man who's always available, always eager, always ready to please. They're drawn to the one who makes them question, who makes them lean in, who makes them earn his attention. And if you think that's manipulation, then you don't understand human psychology, because desire is born in tension, in uncertainty, in the unknown. And when you rob her of that, when you make your feelings obvious too early, too easily, too desperately, you kill her curiosity. And once curiosity dies, desire dies with it. And now you're just another nice guy in the background, liked but never loved, needed but never respected, safe but never chosen. And what stings the most is that you were genuine. Your intentions were pure, you truly cared. But none of that matters if the energy is off, because women don't respond to intention, they respond to energy. And chasing screams scarcity. Chasing screams, I need you more than you need me. And that imbalance is the death of attraction. So what do? You flip the script, you stop playing the pursuer and become the pursued. Not by pretending not to care, but by actually shifting your focus, your life, your mindset, to something far greater than her attention. Your purpose, your path, your evolution. You build a world so magnetic, so purpose-driven, that your attention becomes a privilege, not a default. And when she senses that, when she feels the gravity of your presence, she starts chasing, not because you're distant, but because you're devoted, not to her, but to your mission. And this is where most men fail. They think chasing is effort, but it's actually avoidance. Avoidance of self-development, of self-confrontation, of emotional maturity. Because it's easier to chase someone else than it is to become someone worth chasing, so become that man. The one who's too focused to text back immediately, too disciplined to rearrange his life for casual attention, too clear on his worth to tolerate inconsistency. And you'll see the shift. Women will lean in. They'll initiate. They'll invest. Not because you manipulated them, but because you embodied value. And value doesn't chase, it chooses. And this is your turning point. From now on, you never again chase anyone who isn't matching your energy. You don't double text. Don't beg for clarity. Don't explain why you deserve love. You walk, you elevate, you evolve. And in doing so, you become the man every woman secretly wants. Not because you're perfect, but because you're grounded, rare, untouchable. And when she finally realizes she has to work for your attention, she won't resent it. She'll rise to it, because every feminine woman is hardwired to respect the man who doesn't need her. And if you've ever been ghosted, breadcrumbed, ignored after giving your all, know this. It's not your kindness that turned her off. It's that your kindness was wrapped in need, in validation seeking, in a hunger to be chosen instead of choosing yourself. So from today, you reverse that. You chase nothing and attract everything. You become so valuable. She questions if she's good enough, so powerful that her games fall flat, so focused that her attention becomes a bonus, not a goal. And when you finally reach that state, chasing won't even cross your mind, because you'll be too busy building a life worth being chased for. If you're sick of being the man who gives everything and still gets left behind, it's time to become the man she fears losing. No more begging, no more proving, no more waiting for her to choose you. You weren't born to be used. You were born to lead. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men will rewire how you see women, relationships, and most importantly, yourself. And it's everything no one ever taught you. If you're ready to take back your power and never beg for love again, the link's in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to help other men wake up, and comment, "I choose me," if you're ready to grab the ebook and finally live with no regrets.